Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Librarians Recommend. This is our February edition. I'm Shelley Tugas, co-interim director at the library, along with Madeline Page, our other co-interim director, and librarians Joseph Cry and Joan Bushman. First, we want to give you a little heads up about our winter reading program, which is going to start any day now. It's called Branching Out. And we have some really great prizes. You can see them in the library, but we'll also have photos online. And you can register and track your books online. We'll have paper forms also. And we've kept it really simple. Basically, you get a point for every book you read. And because we're branching out, if you read a diverse book, you will get double points. And we have a suggested list for you to look at, or you can find one of your own that you might enjoy. So in keeping with that theme, we are talking today about some of our favorite books that have diverse authors, diverse characters, and we think you're really going to like our selections. So I believe Madeline is going to go first, and we'll just go around the Zoom and talk books.
Well, hi, everybody. For diverse reads today, I chose a book that came out fairly recently, within the last year or two. It is called The Night Tiger by Yang-C Chu. Try and get a good close-up here. This book was so much fun to read. It is set in 1930s Malaysia. It's a combination, I would say, of historical fiction, magical realism, and kind of a thrill, maybe a mystery. And it's a lot of things wrapped up into one book. What I found so interesting about Malaysia in this time period is this is right during the colonization period. So that's sort of the backdrop against which the entire book is written. There is so many references here to the superstitions of the people, and that's where that magical realism ties in. There's also 5 characters that represent the 5 Confucian virtues. So if that area or time frame is not, a time in history that you're familiar with, it was just a great book to read. The characters were really interesting. It was fairly fast paced and quick moving. I learned a lot by reading this book, and the magical realism, I wouldn't say it got into the fantasy or sci-fi it didn't go kind of too far, but it just was there enough to enhance and enhance what the book and the story that were already there. This is the first book I've read by this author, but she does have other books out as well. She is a very interesting author. She grew up in Malaysia, lived in a few different places all over the world, and I just really enjoyed her writing style. I liked her characters, and I would strongly recommend The Night Tiger by Yang-C Chu.
Great. So you tag the next.
Joan, let's go for you next.
All right, great. So I am recommending Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And this is a really wonderful book, adult fiction. It tells the story of 2 people who are living in Nigeria. They're in high school when it starts, and they're a couple. And Efemelu is the girl and Obinze is the boy. And they both, at that period in Nigeria, they are living under a military dictatorship. And so in order to be successful, they feel the need to leave Nigeria and go to the United States or anywhere, London, Great Britain, to study. So Efemelu manages to get to the United States, and it tells her story from there. She has the experience. It was written actually in about 2016, I want to say, but it feels even more contemporary than that. It feels really relevant right now. She has experiences as a non-American Black person, and she says she became Black when she came to the United States. And she suffers some difficulties, and she makes some friends, and she struggles with her life in the United States. She's a student, and then she eventually starts a blog about her experiences with race and racism. And it's really great. I wish the blog was real. It's really a great blog. The entries that are in the book are really great. Obinze has a different experience where he can't make it to the United States and ends up in London instead, but it's his story as an immigrant there. So you kind of get the immigrant experience in two different countries. And I won't tell you any more about it. Well, I guess I can say that Efemelu has a strong urge to return home. And so you get a real feeling for Nigeria, as well as Nigerians and non-Nigerians living in the United States and in London. There's great character development, a little bit of romance, and it feels like it speaks to a lot of things that we need to speak to today. It's a great book, Americana. I really recommend it. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Shelley, we'll go to you.
All right. So my book is It Looks Like This. And it is a young adult novel written by Raffi, hope I say this right, Mittelfeld. And he's actually born in Israel and moved to the United States and now lives in Texas. He is a reverend with the Universal Life Church. He is a gay man who has recently married his husband. And this is his first novel. And it is fantastic. My daughter actually got it and brought it to me and said, you have to read this. And so you never turn that down, right? So the main character is 14. So it's a relatively young character for a young adult novel. His name is Mike. His dad is an evangelical pastor. And so they move around quite a lot, going to new churches that he runs. So he's the new kid, and he's used to being the new kid. When he starts at this new school, he meets and develops a friendship with an older, also new kid named Sean, and they slowly have romantic interests in each other. The other sort of key character, in addition to the parents, is Victor, who is a bully, but is more nuanced than a lot of bullies in stories, especially toward the end. And Mike's father is really concerned about his artistic side and what that might mean about him, wants him to kind of toughen up. There's some social media bullying that happens, and pretty soon his parents become aware of his sexual orientation, and they do send him to a Christian camp to hopefully help him overcome what they describe as gay impulses. So it is a great book. There's a lot of redemption in the end, parents who come closer to understanding. It also is heartbreaking. It's absolutely beautiful, and I would highly recommend it to teens and to adults. Don't shy away because it's a young adult novel. My only caution would be if your teen is really sensitive and in a kind of a tough place right now, just because of the pandemic and social isolation, might want to put this one on hold for a bit, but it is fantastic. And I think it's a really great way to sort of understand teens as they are trying to come out, the pressures that they face, the fear, and the different reactions that people have depending on their value systems and where they are in their life. So it looks like this, and I understand the author has a second book that just came out, so I'm eager to get my hands on that one also. So Joseph, I guess that means you're up.
So my pick this time is The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. This is a pretty hot title these days. It recently won the 2020 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, which is the second Pulitzer Prize for Fiction that the author has won now, the other being for the Underground Railroad, I believe a couple years ago. And this is a bit of a hard read. It's not the most fun novel you're going to get your hands on, but it is incredible, and I doubt he will forget it if you do read it. The story is about, it primarily follows a character, Elwood Curtis, and it jumps back in time between his youth in like the early 1960s and the roughly modern day US. I don't think they ever specified the exact year, but when Elwood is a young boy, about 12, 13, if I recall, it's been a little bit now, he is associated with a crime that he has nothing to do with and is sent to a juvenile reform school in, is it Tallahassee? He's from Tallahassee, somewhere down south. The book is mostly about, from that point on, his experiences in the school, how the school and all sorts of systemic, inequalities, oppression, racism affect this school and how the students are treated, especially because, the students followed by the novel are Black in the South in the 1960s, how they're treated differently from other kids, like white kids who would be in a similar situation with the legal system. Not only is the book about what they're going through, it and at the school itself, it follows through on that with the modern day sections in which we see the lasting effects these things have and how even today in our modern enlightened world that we currently live in, these things are still having a incredible effect on countless people. And it is very much a part of our lives today, even though many people like to act as though these things are just in the past and we've moved on past them. So it is, again, not the most fun. It's not the most uplifting. If you're looking for something light and easy to take your mind off of things, probably not the best pick right now. But if you want to kind of open up and really get a close, intimate look at how these topics, these systems, and this history has affected our modern world and so many of the people living in it, this is a great book. It's short. The writing is very approachable. You can get through it quickly. So this is not a huge time investment. So if you just you don't need to worry about like slogging through, like this is not War and Peace. So you can pick this up and get through it in a weekend. It's a powerful experience and it's going to stick with you. So highly recommend it. And again, that's The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds like a great selection this month. Also, we probably should let everybody know that Joseph does run our diversity book club, and you can watch the calendar and Facebook for the next time that is running. I'm not sure when that is, but we're doing it monthly, and there's some great books that have been chosen. And I think it'd be a really unique experience. You can come once, you can come every time. It's completely up to you. So thanks everybody for, were you going to say something about
I was
this?
just going to say currently the schedule is we're meeting the fourth Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. via Zoom. So you can email me at jkreye, JKREYE at hudsonpubliclibrary.org to get info and Zoom invitations, etc. We might be changing the schedule soon. We're having a meeting with some community people soon to try to talk about the program. So that might be changing, but keep an eye on the website or email me for info if you're interested.
Do you
What
know
book
the
are you
February
reading this month?
selection?
I'm sorry?
Do you know the February selection yet? Is it?
That's one thing we haven't decided on. I want to talk to people at the meeting tomorrow before we announce that. So
Great. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a great month, and we look forward to doing this again in a few weeks. Thanks. Bye-bye.